Hyper Beats. Hyper Beats. Hyper Beats.
All right, what is going on, folks? This is the boys here from Across the Plain, and we are here to give you some last-minute advice. Week 9 is we're kicking off. We got an hour and 7 minutes to the noon kickoff time. We are pretty excited. Hope you guys can get your lineup set and get a win. My name is Will. You can find me at MPLS_outdoors. We are a part of Across the Plain. Kind of a little sports network here. We have a podcast that is linked below, as well as give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube because we've been going live now pretty consistently. We've got lots of videos coming. So above me is
I'm Jake the Rookie, and that's THA, like Across the Plain, and like you said, all of that. And yeah, we're here to bring you good quality rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. We had our Thursday ranking show. We had Devontae Adams number 1, Aaron Rodgers as the number 3 quarterback. We missed, as well as a lot of other people, on JaMychal Hasty, but that is the 49ers backfield. But
yeah, it was a favorable matchup, so he was liked but did not perform.
Yeah, didn't get the touches that we thought he would. But you know what? That is behind us. If you started him, you started him. You can't do anything about it now. If you left him on the bench, good for you. We'll talk about some injuries. Looks like Calvin Ridley, Chris Carson are out. Matt Breida was another player who we had ranked who's out. Devonta Freeman is out, so it looks like Wayne Gallman's getting the full workload there.
Yep. and I think he could be a safe plug and play.
Yeah, absolutely. And then looks like we have the return of Michael Thomas. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey we didn't mention because he was healthy all week. So Michael Thomas looks like he is suiting up. Chris Godwin as well, a week after surgery. We have our first question: Thomas Tomlinson, Chase Claypool, or Justin Jackson at flex? I'm gonna go with Justin Jackson. Last week had double-digit carries, and had 5 catches. So that's a lot safer. I know it's a great matchup for Chase Claypool, but you do worry about Pittsburgh getting ahead really early and just running the ball a lot. And I'm going Justin Jackson. I think that's a much safer bet.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I really am high on Justin Jackson, especially for the rest of the year. It's definitely a good person to have on the roster for the upcoming matchups.
Yeah, any running back that's getting double-digit carries and is getting workload in the passing game is worthy of a start, and that's going to be a lot safer than Chase Claypool because it's 1 or 2 of these Dallas pass catchers, maybe 3 is going to have a good game, but there's a lot of pass catchers. Ebron's been a red zone threat, and again, I expect Pittsburgh to get ahead early, and they're going to be running the ball a lot there.
Yeah, I expect James Conner to have a huge game.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's get into the rankings then. Obviously, there are the injuries. Keep an update on. It looks like Zeke is going to play. Could be limited. Keenan Allen also questionable. Looks like he's going to play. Keep an eye on all those guys. Obviously, you're probably going to be playing them. We will talk about Zeke.
Yeah, I don't know about Zeke this week.
Here's our running back rankings. We have Zeke down at 27. It is a tough matchup. They've upgraded some running backs to the practice squad. Garrett Gilbert is the starting quarterback. It's bad over there in Pittsburgh's. Excellent defense, arguably the best defense in the league right now. And I don't expect Zeke. Maybe he gets a touchdown, but that's really what you're hoping for, and that's the territory that he's ranked. I don't expect him to get a huge. I expect him to get double-digit touches. I don't expect him to get, close to 20 carries. I think it'll be closer to 11 to 13 carries maybe. And I just don't trust Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah, I don't know Gilbert, so I'm not gonna trust him. And exactly, I don't know that. I saw Adam Rank told people to start Ezekiel Elliott. I would try not to. If I have anybody above him on our rankings, I would plug them in. I really think it's not going to be a great week for him, and he's trending down.
Yeah, I don't like Zeke. So again, I think there's plenty of upside elsewhere, and if we told you a couple weeks ago to sell Zeke, so I think there are brighter days ahead with Zeke, though. He did have 8 catches with Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton is going to be better for that offense and for the fantasy relevant players. But as far as Zeke goes, I'm looking other directions. DJ Dallas, I want to talk about him number quick. He's number 14. Chris Carson's been ruled out. Again, if you were a Zeke owner and you picked up DJ Dallas, sit Zeke, throw in DJ Dallas. There's plenty of other options. DJ Dallas is a player that I really would like to get in my lineup. I think he's gonna upside is through the roof this week against Buffalo. They could be running the ball a lot there, and with Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde out, it looks like DJ Dallas is up to get the bulk load of the work again.
Yep, and I think he has upside in the passing game as well for PPR, and like you said, it's just volume, huge.
Let's see.
Another guy I really like on this list that I think has good upside would be J.K. Dobbins.
I agree with you. He had 15 carries last week. Looks like Mark Ingram's doubtful. Looks like he's going to sit again, which I think that's just better. I think Gus Edwards also, we have him ranked at 28. I expect them to be running the ball a lot. And, that's what the Ravens do. And I think both of them are a safe bet to get double-digit touches. But J.K. Dobbins is clearly the more talented running back out of that backfield.
Yeah, I agree. And another guy I really like on running backs this week is obviously James Conner. I think he's going to have a huge week. And Chase Edmonds, hopefully you got him after Kenyon Drake went down or before. And I think he's going to be more productive than Kenyon Drake has been all season long for the rest of the season that he plays.
Yeah, and again, it's just the passing upside that's going to keep that relevant. Kenyon Drake could be out as long as up to 3 weeks, so we'll keep an eye on that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire at number 9. I'm a little worried about his production. We had him as a sell. The Chiefs were just not really
It's
sure.
a good matchup.
It is a great matchup, so we got him. We still have him ranked. The talent is there. It's obviously such a high-powered offense that at any given point, I mean, he can bust a big play. He can get if they give him the ball, he can have a good fantasy day. We have him ranked number 9, but I am a little bit concerned about Zeke going not Zeke, about Clyde Edwards-Helaire going forward.
Something to monitor, I guess, but I'm not exactly worried about it. I think he's going to be productive, and as long as he's not your the guy you're counting on for the majority of your points, I think he's going to be solid RB2 for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get to these wide receiver ranks here. And is there any guy that you're extremely high on this week?
For wide receivers, I mean, I really like Stephon Diggs' matchup. He's got the most targets. I think he could outperform his number 6 ranking and have a top 3 day.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs. He's top 5 in the league in targets, and I think this could be the week Josh Allen kind of gets back on track. If you're a Josh Allen owner, if you've been having to start him, you drafted him, you're really needing that this week. He hasn't thrown a passing touchdown now 2 weeks in a row. He did get the rushing touchdown. That is going to keep his upside high, but it's against Seattle. They're playing at home. It doesn't look like the weather's terrible, and this is really the week that we need to see Josh Allen to get back on track. So I think Stephon Diggs could really, I mean, his upside is through the roof. I agree with you.
Another guy I really like, I think Corey Davis could have a good game today. He's going to probably be covered by the rookie, and we'll see how that matchup turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. He's now had double-digit targets 2 weeks in a row, and I expect better things from this Tennessee offense. They're going to be needing to throw the ball a lot. Derrick Henry's obviously a safe play. They will be running the ball, but I do think they will be needing to throw the ball. And I agree with you. A.J. Brown, I do think still is the better play, could have a bounce-back game. So he is the more talented receiver. We do have him at 13, but I agree. Him having that number 1 coverage really benefits Corey Davis, and so I think he could definitely outperform that 25 rank. But, yeah, I agree with you. I'm super high on him.
Yeah, I think they're going to have around the same amount of production for the rest of the year. I think A.J. Brown has bigger play potential, but Corey Davis is going to get a lot of targets.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm a Jonnu Smith owner. I'm gonna go. It's tough if you're a Jonnu Smith owner. You want bigger things, but it looks like Corey Davis. It is now just Corey Davis and A.J. Brown are the relevant pass catchers in that offense.
Yeah. And I know Antonio Brown's probably not projected much, but I think it's really, if you gotta throw somebody in there and you are having debating somebody that's you don't see on our list, I say even, I don't know, I think Antonio Brown would be fun if it's not a must-win game for you to throw out there. And I think he's gonna have some targets.
His upside is always through the roof. Coaches have been saying he's looked explosive. I don't think we have to worry about him being in shape. It's just, again, with all these pass catchers, we have all of them. We have Antonio Brown ranked 30. I do agree. I think he can outperform that. Chris Godwin coming in at 18, Mike Evans at 26. We have Gronk as the number 3 tight end. There's just so many targets to go around, and then obviously there's going to be targets to the running back as well.
Yeah, exactly. Just a lot to go around, but it's high-powered offense. Tampa Bay.
Let's see. I'm really high on Terry McLaurin this week. I think he could have a big week. Obviously, last game he played, his potential for a bigger game was much higher as he stopped short just of the end zone. His target share is just absolutely incredible, and regardless of who's starting under center, he's going to be, I think he's a safe bet this week for double-digit targets. Really high on him. Giants have a decent defense, but I think Terry McLaurin can really just have a great week this week.
Yeah, I drafted him in the 6th round, and I'm very happy with my return so far. I think he is, like you said, it's just a monster target share, and somebody you need to start every week he's playing, I think. I saw someone ask Terry McLaurin or David Montgomery, and I'm going to tell you Terry McLaurin every single week.
If it's any PPR format, I guess you think about it if it's standard, but
yeah, I guess,
any PPR format, I'm going Terry McLaurin there. Also, I'm really high on Allen Robinson this week. Obviously, he's ranked really high at number 8, but Tennessee's defense is banged up, and I expect Allen Robinson to. I think he can have 100 yards, potentially a touchdown, lots of targets and catches.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, what else? We'll talk about Marvin Jones. It does look like Matt Stafford passed all his COVID tests and is going to play. Minnesota secondary's banged up. I'm cautious on being high on Marvin Jones, because I'm personally highest on T.J. Hawkinson. I think he's going to be the highest benefit of Kenny Golladay being out. But I do think Marvin Jones has high. He's going to be getting red zone looks, going to be getting deep targets. But we do have to look out for Danny Amendola, Marvin Hall, Quintez Cephas to kind of get some of those targets too. But I do think Marvin Jones is the safest play and has really high touchdown upside this week against a banged up Minnesota defense.
Yeah, Marvin Jones always has some pretty good touchdown upside. He's known for some big plays, and I think if you're going to start somebody in replace of Kenny G on the Lions, it should be Marvin Jones.
Yeah, you're going to have a tough time starting like a Marvin Hall. I know Marvin Hall did have 100 yards last week after Kenny Golladay went out, but I do think that was because, Marvin Jones was drawing, Xavier Rhodes was playing really well. Marvin Jones was drawing that top coverage there, so much easier defense in secondary.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
Let's see. We got Christian Kirk, number 27. He always can outperform that ranking. Be cautious, but again, you can throw him out there and at least expect big play potential. They're going to target him deep. They're going to try and get him deep looks. Not necessarily saying he's going to do it, but I expect a lot of throwing the ball there in Miami.
Yeah, he's big play guy, huge upside because of that. And the floor is getting better. It's just we got somebody in our league flexing him this week, and you know what? Oh no, we don't. He took him out. It's a decent play, I think. He had his last 2 games had 4 touchdowns, so hot hand.
Yeah. And so let me say something. I just want to say really quick, Tyler Lockett. I do think this could be a boom week for Tyler Lockett. We got Tre'Davious White over there in Buffalo. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And he is going to be covering DK Metcalf, I do believe. And as we saw, I think that kind of played into Tyler Lockett's big boom game against Arizona when Patrick Peterson was covering DK Metcalf. Obviously, he had that touchdown called back. and it's DK Metcalf, so it's hard to rank. It is hard to rank, but I do think this potentially could be a Tyler Lockett boom week.
Yeah, I mean, it always can be. That's the best offense right now is Seattle's. Even with the running back injuries, they got DJ Dallas coming in, and you could just plug them in just from strictly being the running back in that high-powered offense.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of points in that offense.
Yeah, and Buffalo's definitely a defense that you can score on.
I'm starting everyone in that offense except probably the tight end position. I still don't know who I like in from Seattle.
Yeah.
Isn't Disley playing again?
Yeah, he's back. It's you're not really looking to start the tight ends. There's plenty of other options there. You got Mike Williams there at 23. I think he can have a really big game. Always can. He's had now 8 targets, 2 out of his last 3 games. We expect a lot of points here out of this Las Vegas game. Really quick, I want to flip to the quarterback rankings.
What about Marvin Hall?
Yeah, we expect big things or a lot of points out of that game. We're high on all the players. We got Justin Herbert, the number 5 quarterback, at home versus Las Vegas, and then we got Derek Carr up at number 10. Derek Carr is a streaming play this week. We told you guys to go out and stream him. There's plenty of other options.
You like Gage over Marvin Hall?
I do, with Calvin Ridley out. Yeah, absolutely. I think Gage definitely steps into that number 2 slot. Yeah, so Derek Carr, I'm high on Derek Carr. I think you can I'm expecting 3 touchdowns. Nelson Aguilar has really high upside for me this week. I know he put up a dud last week, but the weather there was just terrible, and you're not going to expect deep balls when the weather's, when you have 30-mile-per-hour winds. Last week was it was an interesting week. I think weather affected a lot of games. We kind of had bad weather all across the country in a lot of games, and it did affect many games last week, especially the Cleveland-Las Vegas game.
I think the Las Vegas Chargers game could have a lot of points in it today.
I agree with you. I mean, I'm not surprised if they're scoring, a combined 60 points in that game. Each quarterback likes to throw the deep ball. They each have some really good deep ball threats. So expect that a lot.
Division has just super high-powered offense. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Talk about Lamar Jackson. We got him at number 8.
It's probably the lowest we've had him.
And he might be lower if he doesn't perform this week. It is a really tough matchup on the road at Indy, but it is Lamar Jackson. There's just such high rushing upside, but it's tough. 14 points last week.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough.
And
I drafted Lamar Jackson. I am now starting Justin Herbert for the 3rd week in a row. I started him when Jackson had a bye. Started him last week, and I'm starting him again this week. So right now we're in Justin Herbert over Lamar Jackson. That's one of the most popular questions I think last week was, do I start Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert? And I always go with the hot hand. We know what Lamar Jackson can do. Super high rushing upside, but how can you not start Justin Herbert right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially at home against Las Vegas. They're going to be throwing the ball there. It's just, again, we expect good things out of all of those skill players.
Agreed. And speaking of, I think on the other side, the Indianapolis Colts, I don't like anyone on this team this week. I'm trying not to start any Colts.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll flip back to the running back rankings here.
Maybe flex one of their running backs, but it seems like the touches are going around, and I'm not sure how the ball is getting spread out.
Yeah, I think
And
look for this week to gain some more clarity, hopefully in that backfield. Hope that last week was kind of a fluke, but it's a tough matchup against Baltimore. We do have Jonathan Taylor ranked the highest, but he's up at 24. JD McKissick, or sorry, not JD McKissick, Naheem Hines at 30, and then Jordan Wilkins just outside of that. For the Sunday shows, we only rank the top 30, but Jordan Wilkins is a top 40 play, but it's so tough. I mean, it's a different week every
I
week
think this is
there.
gonna be a low scoring game.
I agree with
To
you.
be honest, I don't think maybe we'll see. I think if we see 20 points, it will only be from one team.
I agree with you.
But I don't know if we'll see 20
Yeah, I mean, I think
from either.
I think the best play out that Colts offense is Rodrigo Blankenship.
Yeah, agreed. And Justin Tucker from the Ravens, maybe.
Yeah.
I like J.K. Dobbins. I think he has good yards per carry, and they're using him in the passing game.
Yeah, I really hope they continue to use J.K. Dobbins more. He had 15 carries for over 100 yards last week, but
yeah, he's exciting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Mark Ingram out, the upside's a lot higher. So, let's see. We got Zach Moss up at 21. We don't have Devin Singletary in the top 30 for the first time, and again, this is another thing. Like Zach Moss just looked better. They were giving him red zone touches, and Seattle's a really poor defense.
Yeah. I'm starting Zach Moss this week. I got him starting over Jonathan Taylor. I started Jonathan Taylor last week, and it was very disappointing. It resulted in me losing, and I'm hoping Zach Moss has a good week like he did again last week. He looks to be better than Singletary if you're ever debating between those two.
Yeah, and hopefully again, you always like when the better. I mean, he just looked a lot better, so hopefully that trend continues.
Hopefully the volume trend continues, especially.
Yeah. And the red zone work. That's really important.
Yes.
Jason Whitney, Adam Sandler, huh? Yeah, flex Adam Sandler. Let's see. Ronald Jones 22. We got Leonard Fournette 17. This is a tough backfield to figure out. It does, again, we talked about this preview show. We talked about this on the Thursday ranking show. Leonard Fournette is trending towards being the backfield option that's getting more work, more favorable. I'll say that. It's trending towards it. Last week, I mean, it's been trending towards that way the last 2 weeks. Last week, we don't know how much it was because of the fumble, but Leonard Fournette has been getting a good amount of passing work. So I do feel a little bit better about Leonard Fournette against New Orleans.
Yeah, it seems like he's moved ahead of Ronald Jones in fantasy production, or that's the trend, as you said, and just in volume as well. So, yeah, I think I'd like Fournette over Jones this week for sure.
Damian Harris up at 14. He's questionable with an injury. Looks like Sony Michel might be activated. But again, Damian Harris, I do think he's a really high upside play. And you know what? It's against the Jets, and I really hope they continue to give him the ball. If he gets double digit, he obviously doesn't have much safer play in standard scoring leagues. Doesn't really have much passing upside, but again, looks like there is touchdown upside, and I like Damian Harris this week.
I do too. He has a Q by his name right now. It looks like he's going to play. Hopefully stays in and gets the volume you need him to if you are playing him. And every game he's plays, he gets great yardage. So high upside.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's flip to these tight end ranks quick. we got Gronk. This is the highest he's been ranked all week. Gronk up at number 3. I really like Gronk this week. He's been getting consistent work, and he's been getting the volume necessary to warrant him a top tight end spot. Now with George Kittle being out, Travis Kelce is going to be number 1 every single week. Darren Waller's probably going to be number 2 every single week. But again, Gronk, it looks like he's a safer play over like a Mark Andrews to me. Mark Andrews kind of boom or bust at this point. When he's scoring, he's getting a lot of points, and that's really great out of your tight end position. But again, has a couple of those 3-point games, and that's going to be hurting you. I'm a little bit higher on T.J. Hawkinson. Again, we have him as a top play. I have T.J. Hawkinson up at number 4. And with Kenny Golladay being out, I do think he is going to be the main beneficiary. He's been a really safe option at tight end. I think there is high upside. And I'm going to say the same for Noah Fant. We told you to stream Drew Lock, and it looks like Noah Fant. I mean, he's in line for a big game this week against Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. I told someone to start him a couple weeks ago, and he did not do very good. But I still like him a lot. And like you said, that's one of the best matchups you can ask for, Atlanta.
Yeah, we have Drew Lock, highest we've had him ranked all season. And again, this is without, I guess he's at 14 currently, and without, obviously this was with Aaron Rodgers removed from the lineup, so you 15. But again, I'm high on Drew Lock. I think there's high upside for Drew Lock this week. Let me say that.
Yeah, I'd still probably try to find better option, but if you're really struggling to find somebody to play, I think he's gonna have a safe matchup around 20 points.
Yeah,
possibly.
I think he gets you, for me, like 18 points is that start threshold, and I think he can hit that this week.
Yeah, for sure. I like him better than Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater against Kansas City. I even like him better than Cam Newton against New York Jets.
I can't trust Cam Newton.
He has the rushing upside, but the turnovers, exactly.
The turnovers, and he hasn't thrown. It's now been multiple weeks where he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. And I know there's rushing upside, but it can't be just the rushing play, unless it's like Lamar Jackson where he could have 100 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Cam Newton's not getting that. He has touchdown upside, and he does, there is rushing upside. It is against the Jets, but you do need him, just like Lamar Jackson. You do need them to be throwing. You do need your quarterback to be throwing touchdowns, and it's tough with Cam right now with the way he's been playing, even against the Jets. I'll say again, it's divisional games are weird. We thought Josh Allen was going to have a huge week against the Jets. He did not have a touchdown that week. So,
yeah, that was a weird game.
And it could be another weird game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring. I don't see many points in this game coming.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger up at 9. That's probably the highest we've had him ranked. All about matchup. Again, we talked about that. We do expect big James Conner week, but I do think Big Ben's a really good play this week against Dallas.
Yeah.
Flipping back to the running back rankings. Let's see. David Johnson at number 10, really safe play there. Jake Luton starting in Jacksonville. So we're really high on James Robinson, who's up at number 5. We expect a lot of checkdowns and a lot of carries for James Robinson. But other than that, I'm not trusting DJ Chark. He's not cracking the top 30. I'm going to wait a week. Who knows? Maybe Jake Luton plays great, but I'm not risking it because it could be a total dud. So we told you guys to go stream the Texans defense, and we feel good about that. It's going to be tough there for the Jacksonville offense.
There's another guy I'm not high on. He didn't make our rankings. Is for top 30 is Devontae Parker. I think he's gonna get lockdown coverage by Patrick Peterson this week, and Tua's gonna have a hard time finding him open at all. Or even, I think he might be even a little too intimidated to throw on Patrick Peterson. We'll have to see. This is gonna be a big game to see how. I think this is where we see if Tua's going to start the rest of the year, or they're going to bring in Fitzmagic back. It's going to be this game. We see that. Because they're a playoff team right now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and it's tough though. You think that's tough to go back on Tua. I think this potentially could be a fun game for the Arizona-Miami game.
I mean, yeah, it's the first time that Tua and Kyler face off in the NFL. They played in that was it national semifinal game back in the college football days. And you know what? I think it's going to be a fun matchup to watch, but I think Kyler Murray is going to have a way better day than Tua does.
Yeah. Totally. I agree with you. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the wide receiver rankings. We got Will Fuller up at number 12. We're pretty high on these Houston pass catchers. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's number 3 quarterback going in this week. So, Will Fuller, number 12. I expect big things out of Will Fuller this week.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't get moved to Green Bay. That would have been good for Will Fuller, but that would not have been good for the rest of the NFC North division, because that offense is looking good right now, and they don't really have many weapons besides Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. So if they added Will Fuller, that's great. They missed out on that. And I like them the rest of the year with Deshaun Watson, but I think he would have had a way better rest of the year in Green Bay.
Yeah, I agree with you. That would have been fun to see, but it looks like Allen Lazard could come back, and he was playing well during Devontae Adams' absence. I do think he is a little bit better than Marquez Valdes-Scantling, but I agree with you. I still think it's going to be a good week for Will Fuller. Sitting there at number 11, we haven't talked about him yet, is Michael Thomas. It does look like he is going to suit up for Sunday Night Football. I'm tempering expectations, though.
I'm starting him. I have him in one of my leagues, and I haven't got to play him all year, so I'm starting him this week, but I'm also not expecting him to have a 20-point game.
I agree with you, and that's what I'm saying. I also have him in another league, in one of my leagues, and it's just tough. Drew Brees, it's a tough matchup, and I agree. I do think he has a safe floor, but it's again tough matchup, and we've been saying this all season. I don't think Drew Brees is just the same quarterback. I don't think he is. I think, and again, I think still safe floor PPR formats Michael Thomas, but I don't think he's necessarily the player that we saw last year.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see, Keenan Allen up at number 3. I mean, he's a great option. Justin Herbert is just slinging that ball. We've been talking about this a lot so far. We're super high on all those players. And Keenan Allen is a great option at number 3.
Yeah, I think especially for PPR, I think he's super solid. I think he's got a Q by his name right now, but I think you could see another double-digit target game from Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And what is his injury? It just says illness, so
yeah,
he tested negative for the COVID.
I think he
like
plays.
he's gonna play.
Yeah.
He had a sore throat, so that was the injury designation, but tested negative for COVID. Will play today.
Yeah, so Keenan Allen got really safe floor, huge upside this week. Okay, sorry, big list
here.
You can go.
Full PPR, choose 3: Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, Melvin Gordon, DeAndre Swift, Leonard Fournette, or Marvin Jones.
Okay, choose 3. I'm gonna
go Godwin, Gordon, and Fournette.
I was going to say the same thing. DJ Moore. So let's see. We have Chris Godwin. We have. It's tough.
I got Godwin at 14 on my personal rankings. I think he's going to have the best game out of the Tampa Bay.
Brandon Cooks or Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson. Henry throwing the ball a lot at Kansas City. But again, back to that. So I do agree. I think Melvin Gordon let me break it down. Melvin Gordon and Leonard Fournette to me are the safest options. So you're gonna go for me. I'm starting those two guys right away. And then Brandon Cooks or Marvin Jones. It's tough. I'm a little bit higher on Marvin Jones. I think he has higher touchdown upside. So, and again, all right, back to you, Trey.
I like his matchup too. I like his matchup against Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Fournette, Gordon, and I'm personally gonna go with DJ Moore. I think so. Let me say this: Chris Godwin is a safer play. I agree with you, Jake. I think DJ Moore has higher upside. They're gonna be throwing the ball a lot there in Kansas City. But Melvin Gordon and Fournette, I think, are pretty safe plays this week.
Yeah, I agree. Matchup based and see, we got those guys all in a row: DJ Moore, Godwin, and Jones. So it's hard. Godwin I think is safer. DJ Moore has high upside. Marvin Jones has high upside, but I'm playing Godwin.
Yeah. That's tough. But yeah, I think for sure we both agree Fournette and Melvin Gordon. DeAndre Swift, it's tough. It's just so tough to trust the Lions running backs. We have him ranked, the talent's there, but are they going to use him the way that they should use him?
He's been used in the passing game, which is, you like that, but like I played him last week in a league and he did not do good. He had 6 carries last week, which is not what you expected. You expected maybe double digits because he had 9 and 14 the week before. So yeah, it was a hard matchup at Indy, better matchup against Minnesota. Just temper expectations, and I would not play him unless you need somebody.
Yeah, let's see. So, players, I want to talk about for receivers. Obviously, the receivers are a really deep position. There's a lot of players that are just outside of that top 30, or not a lot of players. A couple of players I want to talk about. Nelson Aguilar is one of them. We're obviously super high on Darren Waller, as we are Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr this week. But I do think Nelson Aguilar has huge upside. And as well as Tim Patrick. We have Jerry Jeudy ranked a little bit higher, but for me, Tim Patrick falls right outside of the top 30.
Yeah, I like Tim Patrick too, especially against Atlanta. It's a great matchup today. Let's see. Anybody else? Maybe Russell Gage for Atlanta.
Yeah, I think that's a really intriguing play. It's a favorable matchup against Denver, and again, Calvin Ridley's out, but it's tough to throw Russell Gage out. But again, I do think he could be a decent play.
Agreed. And
yeah, I guess out of the guys, let me say this: out of the next guys, I would have probably Nelson Aguilar, Tim Patrick. Those are probably my next 2 plays outside of the top 30.
Another guy I really like that has huge upside, just a deep ball target, is John Brown. I think he might catch a big pass today, especially against the worst. This is the best matchup you can ask for if you're John Brown. He hasn't really he's had injuries nagging him the last few weeks, but week 1, week 2, he was very productive. And I think if he gets healthy, we can see the return.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll flip to these. We'll flip back to the quarterback rankings quick. Um, yeah, I think the only it's gonna be I'm high on Tom Brady. Tom Brady's turning out to be a great fantasy quarterback with all these weapons, and it's only gonna get better for him.
Yeah, I mean, he possibly has 4 receivers that you could plug in and start, and Gronk, and then 2 running backs. Like, and they're all arguably is just you can start them all. It's very, it's crazy. That's they might be the Super Bowl favorites at this point. And let's see, we got Kirk Cousins on our quarterback rankings. Don't start him, obviously. It's just he's in there. I like Cam Newton's upside over him, so I know some of these rankings. It's like,
Well, okay, let me say this about Kirk Cousins. The reason I was a little bit higher on Kirk Cousins is I know Dalvin Cooks, he had 4 touchdowns last week. But I do think Kirk Cousins will have a multi-touchdown game. Kirk Cousins' longest pass last week went 8 yards, and I think it'll be a lot better. And again, I'm not telling you to go start Kirk Cousins. He's outside of your top 16. But and for Cam, I don't trust Cam. I do think he has higher upside, but again, I don't. It's tough to trust Cam if he doesn't get a rushing touchdown. He has a potential to, And I agree, Kirk Cousins is the same, or no, not necessarily the same, where he needs a rushing touchdown, but they both can really put up stinkers. I mean,
yeah,
that's the harsh
if you're
reality.
gonna go for a streaming option, I think Drew Lock is the guy this week.
Yeah, Drew Lock, Derek Carr were our number 1 and number 2 streaming options this week.
What? How many is? I think Carr's probably owned and more. Oh no, he's on the waivers in our league. 56. Yeah, he's probably out there.
Yeah, and it was a little bit lower. I think it was at 48 going into the week. I want to say when we did the preview show.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Derek Carr's having his best season so far, and it's going very quietly, I think.
Yeah, and he's limiting the turnovers, which is important for him.
Absolutely. That's the reason their record is what it is right now. And yeah, I expect 60, 70 points in that game, over under.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a Josh Jacobs owner. It was tough last week having Josh Jacobs get over 30 carries for 120 yards, and he got stuffed a couple times in the red zone consecutively. It was tough, but you know what? That's fantasy football sometimes, and sometimes you're an inch away from having a great game. A couple inches away from having 2 touchdowns to having no touchdowns, and going from a decent game to just an outstanding game. So expect better things for Josh Jacobs this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing now that he's got, what does it say? Knee and illness, and listed as questionable.
Yeah, he is expected to play.
They appear optimistic, but they also don't release the reports till 90 minutes before kickoff. So hopefully you have a backup plan and just something to keep an eye on.
He did practice on Friday, which is important. So that's a big indicator of whether a player is going to play or not, if they can suit up on Friday. So I do expect Josh Jacobs to play. Obviously, you're starting him if he's out there. Let's see. We'll talk about Le'Veon Bell sitting there at number 26. We've been saying it.
Fumble hurt him last week.
Yeah, fumble hurt him last week, and it's just, if you've been watching the games, I mean, he's been getting really big chunk yardage plays. 15 plus yards, 18 yards here. And I think it's always tough to say with the Chiefs running back, but again, like we say, I think Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are going to move closer and closer in rankings.
They got him for a 1-year contract, so yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if they start upping the volume on him. But like it just turned into another team because they're still using Damian Williams. It turned into another team with the three-headed backfield, and that's just something that I don't like getting myself into those situations.
Yeah,
For the most
and
part.
it's tough if last week against the Jets, none of the running backs were getting double digit touches, and that's something we really want. We really would like to see at least one of them getting double digit carries out of the backfield there.
Exactly. It's just another teams that I have that issue with. It's Baltimore, New England,
Yeah.
Detroit.
Let's see. We got a question here. I need a flex. Robbie Anderson, Devontae Parker, Gurley, or Marvin Jones. The safest option out of all that is Gurley.
Todd Gurley.
But
Robbie Anderson for upside.
yeah. I think Gurley again. It's tough to sit Gurley again. I'm a Gurley owner, and it's really frustrating. But my best advice if you're a Todd Gurley fantasy owner is just put him out there. I know he hasn't had the bye, and he is RB6 going into this in half point PPR, averaging over 14 points a game. Put him out there. Don't watch the game. Don't watch the offensive series. Don't pay attention to the stat line. Check the score at the end of the game. You'll probably be happier more times than not. So it's Gurley is probably going to get a touchdown. Robbie Anderson, he got the touchdown. He's only had one touchdown on the year. So should I replace DJ Chark with Gage or Aguilar? You guys seem low on.
It's just a rookie quarterback. This week they're putting out Jake Luton. Chark is definitely more talented than Gage or Aguilar, but they've built rapport with their QB, and I expect them to have good games. Chark is just you know what DJ Chark is capable of. He's really good. It's just a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
don't know anything about him.
I'm not trusting DJ Chark this week. Maybe it's really good, but you know what? If I would feel a lot better being kind of I'd rather be a week late than be a week just be flat out wrong this week because the floor is really low with Jake Luton at quarterback. It could be good, but it's tough to trust. And Nelson Aguilar again has really high upside this week. I think
it's deep ball target, so big place when he gets the ball.
And I think having that offensive healthy is big, and when they have Henry Ruggs on the other side, who's another deep ball target, I'm going to say if it's like a flex, so let me say this. If it's a flex play, you need to want to throw out your flex. I'm playing Aguilar. I do think Gage has a safer floor with Calvin Ridley being out, though.
Yeah, I think they're get around the same amount of production. I'm not gonna, but yeah, I like Gage's. With Ridley out, I think Gage's value goes up.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, it's tough. I was saying those are, Aguilar, Tim Patrick, and Russell Gage are the three guys I'd have just outside. Flip to the wide receiver rankings, and yeah, we don't have any of those guys ranked in our top 30. But again, wide receiver is much deeper than running back. And yeah, upside Aguilar, safer play as Gage. I'm not starting DJ Chark over those two guys though. I will say that.
Yeah, that's ideally I'm trying to get somebody in our rankings into your lineup if you can. But yeah, I'll start Gage out of those three.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you.
Aguilar for upside.
Gage is the safest play. You'll feel good. I think Gage is your safest bet to get you 10 points or more. And if it's PPR format, he can get you double digits without getting a touchdown.
He has before. I mean, he's done really good against the weaker defenses, the tougher matchups. He's been less involved, but Denver is pretty mids in as far as matchups go. So I like him. And we want to show off the defenses at all?
You know what? Yeah, we'll show off our kicker defense rankings really quick. Steelers are obviously number 1.
AJ Brown or Will Fuller? Welcome back, Alligator Feed. We have them right next to
It's
each other.
tough. I like Will Fuller. I'm gonna say that. I like Will Fuller a little more.
Yeah, I do too. Kendall Fuller has been playing great, or Kyle Fuller, excuse me, and that's AJ Brown's probably gonna get covered by him.
Yeah, and Will Fuller. Yeah, I'm going Will Fuller there. I confidently have Will Fuller ranked a spot above AJ Brown. They're both good plays, but I think Will Fuller is a safer play with a little bit higher upside against a weak Jacksonville secondary.
Agreed.
We've seen Bears games. If you've been watching Bears games, they're low scoring games, and they're tough. They're tough games.
Yep. Yeah. Playing against the Bears defense is probably not going to score very many touchdowns. There's been, I don't think they've given up 4 touchdowns in a game yet.
Yeah. And if you got Deshaun Watson, we'll flip up to the quarterbacks. We got Deshaun Watson at number 3. So, yeah, Alligator Feed. I'm going with Will Fuller. It's tough though. I mean, who are? So I got a question though. Who else do you have on your lineup? Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm trying to get both of those guys in my lineup. Obviously, unless I have some of the guys have ranked above, but that's a short list for me.
Yeah, Jacksonville's not been good against the pass, and I think Will Fuller he's had a touchdown. He's one of the most consistent receivers so far this year for production. He's had a touchdown in a lot of games. Let me check.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We got 13 minutes to kick off here. Lineups, hopefully, last minute. Wide receiver 1 is Adams. Wide receiver 2. Yeah, your flex would be Fuller. Okay, yeah. I guess if you got Hill and Adams staying. Sterling Shepard or Brandon Cooks. We got Brandon Cooks. I think he's a safer play. Washington's a tough defense.
I like Brandon Cooks against Jacksonville. I like the matchup.
Yeah, Alligator Feed. So let me tell you, if I were you, well, who are your running backs, Alligator Feed?
Nah, I'm flexing Fuller no matter.
I agree with you. I'm just curious. I'm looking at that like, man, you're gonna have to sit one of those guys every week. If you're weak at running back, I would trade Adams or Hill for a running back.
Marion, Zeke, Pollard, whoever gets the nod, or D Swift at flex. Oh God.
Oh, that's so tough, man. Okay, so let me say this: Zeke is gonna get. It looks like Zeke's gonna get the nod. Zeke will get more touches than DeAndre Swift. We don't know how many touches DeAndre Swift is going to get, but man, I'm going DeAndre Swift out of those guys because they could all put up total stinkers. I'm going to tell you this right now, Baller. They could totally all put up stinkers this week, but I think DeAndre Swift has the highest upside against a weak Minnesota defense.
Yeah, for matchups, I like Swift better. The Pittsburgh defense has been outstanding, and it's really hard for me to tell you to sit Zeke if he gets the nod, just because it's Zeke, and if he gets the ball, he's gonna get 4 yards, and he's got a injury designation. The Cowboys look to not be in divisional contention. You might just have to shut them down for the rest of the year. I don't even know about Zeke at this point.
Yeah,
it's hard.
And let's be honest. If you're the Pittsburgh defense, what's your strategy? You're going to say, we're stopping Zeke, and you know what? If Garrett Gilbert beats us, that's fine. But I think, you know what? I think they're going to trust their guys to go one-on-one with their receivers and just stack the box and make Zeke's day really tough. I mean, Like,
they're so good against the run
and
too. It's just nobody's getting yards against Pittsburgh.
and yeah, exactly. And they're gonna be. Yeah, they're going to be stacking the box. They're going to be getting sacks on Garrett Gilbert. It's going to be tough. I mean, I think they're going to get down and get down early. Pittsburgh, the number one defense for us this week. I mean, it's
And Minnesota's not necessarily great against the running back.
a much weaker defense.
I also don't like the situation in Detroit though, because I think they should use Swift the majority of the volume, but they haven't been. They've still been using Kerryon Johnson and AP, and everyone's getting about even work.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating to be honest. I mean, but this is the story with the Lions. I mean, they did the same thing when Kerryon Johnson had some good games. He looked really talented, looked really sharp. And then, they're just not committed. I mean, Matt Patricia's just not committed to having a true RB1, and that would truly, that would be so beneficial, especially when they have such a talented player in DeAndre Swift. I mean, AP's just there to vulture carries at this point, and it's really frustrating. But I'll go, yeah, I'll say tentatively, I'll say DeAndre Swift out of those three.
Yeah, but also they could give AP like 30 carries against Minnesota just to be petty. So
I think Zeke has maybe I guess Zeke will probably have higher touchdown upside, but like that's what you're not expecting a yardage game from Zeke. You need a touchdown if you're expecting a good Zeke game. And DeAndre Swift, if he does get over double-digit carries or double-digit touches, he can break out some big plays and get some big gains.
I will say this about Zeke. I like him better when Andy Dalton comes back because he did seem to catch a lot of passes that game.
Yeah, I think Amari Cooper too. I think the whole offense will be a lot better with Andy Dalton. He'll at least be giving targets and balls to Amari Cooper and Zeke. But yeah, we told you a couple weeks ago, sell those guys. We told you right away, sell Zeke. We were high on that right away, and it's tough looking forward to the rest of the season. 8 minutes to kickoff here. Obviously, if hopefully you guys have made your lineup decisions. I understand, if you're you might be waiting for some of the later games to swap out some of your lineups, but kickoff, we are 8 minutes to kickoff. And I will say this, out of these guys I have down, so the guys that are 10 through 20, I think DJ Dallas has potentially might have the highest upside.
I'm gonna go Justin Jackson with the highest upside, but DJ Dallas is gonna get volume. Looks like he's getting the nod as number one.
Yeah, he's a great
Carlos
play.
Hyde and no Chris Carson.
Let's see. We talk about the Washington backfield. It is tough. It is a split there. And we'll say this is PPR format. I think Antonio Gibson is a decent play. The Giants' defense is better than people thought, and I do expect the Washington offense to struggle outside of Terry McLaurin. But I think at this point, Antonio Gibson falls at 18, and I do think he can hopefully continues to see a higher workload like he has in the past couple weeks.
Yep, and I don't know. I think
he had 20 carries last week. That was the most he's seen all season, but he only had one target. So
keep an eye on that. Yeah, J.D. McKissick is better for me, PPR, but I don't know if he'll have as great of a game as he did. It's just that Dallas defense is terrible. So I don't know if we see 100 yards out of Antonio Gibson for the rest of the year. I think that maybe against Dallas again. But for me, I like McKissick better for PPR, or just at least something to monitor going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you here. Flip to the wide receiver rankings again. Let's talk about tight ends quick. Let's see. Oh, man, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. This is a tough one. You know, pretty much, like, I swear, every consensus rankings out there, I have both of those guys, has them right next to each other. They both should be doing a lot better. They both are very talented, but they have not been seeing the volume lately that you were expecting or like or need them to have to be fantasy relevant tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everyone in the top 10 is fantasy relevant tight end because they have the safe floor. They're probably going to get like 5 targets at minimum. And it's just tight end's a position where unless you have like the top 3 guys, you're not, don't expect like a touchdown every week from tight end. It's just not a reliable position.
Yeah, and I do think it's getting a little bit better with the emergence of Gronk, Noah Fant getting healthy, and I really like T.J. Hawkinson this week. I think he could find himself, you know, he potentially could be number 3, number 2, number 1 tight end this week. I think he's in line for a really big game this week, so I really like T.J. Hawkinson.
Everybody on the Lions, he's the biggest beneficiary of Galladay being sidelined. I think he gets more points because of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he's had a pretty consistent safe floor all season long, even when Kenny Galladay has been on the field.
Yeah, but last week, Galladay exited the game, ended up with 10 targets, 7 catches for 65 yards. I think we see maybe another 10 targets against Minnesota today. So I think he could outperform his 6 ranking.
Yeah, I agree with you, but yeah, it's just Mark Andrews is kind of at this point a boom or bust tight end.
He sees a lot of target share from Lamar Jackson. He's got a really high target share for a tight end, but Lamar Jackson hasn't been connecting on very many of his passes. So.
Yeah, and I suppose we got to mention the Ravens activated Dez off their practice squad. Looks like he is expected to suit up today.
Oh boy, Dez Bryant. That's the first time in 2 years we see him.
It was like New Year's Eve. It was like around New Year's of 2017. I want to say. I think
Wow.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, well, keep an eye on that. He might be benched already. Someone might have grabbed him off the waivers already.
I don't expect much from Dez Bryant, especially with the way Lamar Jackson's been playing, with the running back situation, and the way they run the ball, and Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, especially now, week 1.
Yeah,
coming in, no chemistry, haven't even run, doesn't know the playbook, so don't expect much, or if any.
Yeah, well, let's see. I'm going to take it back to the running back rankings. And is there anything else you need to cover? We got 2 minutes to kick off here for lineups lock.
If you're looking to stream a defense, I think the best play for defense I'm playing Washington in a league they're probably not available. If they're not, I think Houston is my highest stream. That's going to be most likely available in every league, and it has to do with the rookie quarterback,
Jake Luton.
We'll see how many turnovers Jacksonville comes up with today, if any, and I think they will. I'm liking Houston this week as a stream. 30th ranked defense so far, rostered in 16.7, started in 16. So yeah, they're streaming this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, streaming defense there. 1 minute to kick off here. lineups are about to get locked here. We are about to head out and just watch and take in a lot of football. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you were able to help out and set some last minute lineup questions there. As always, my name is Will. Give me a follow on Instagram at MPLS Outdoors. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and make sure to follow us, to subscribe to us on YouTube and hit the bell because we're going live 2 times a week, putting up 3 videos a week for you, giving you consistent content. And make sure if you ever have a question about trades, lineups, to just hit the comments. So
yeah, all of that. Thanks for everybody for watching. We appreciate all the interactions and hope you guys get a win this week.
oh.